Okay, in lesson 7, we're dividing whole numbers by fractions. Okay, the first one was done for us. Let's go ahead and go over it. It says 1/4 of 24. And 1/4 of is the same as saying 1/4 times 24. As you can see, they did the total amount on top, which was 24. They did 4 groups because of the denominator is 4. And that tells us that in order to solve for this, it was 24 divided by 4, which we know 6 times 4 is 24. So each one of these would be 6. So 1/4 of 24 would equal 6. On B, the same thing. I'm going to create a tape diagram. The total is our whole number we're dividing up, which is 48. And since it says quarters, we're going to split it into quarters. And we're looking for the unit fraction, 1/4. So we know that is 48 divided by 4 parts. And that would equal 12, because 12 times 4 is 48. So each one would be 12. So that would be 1/4 of 48 is 12. Now under C, once again we start out with our standard tape diagram. We know the total is 18. And it says thirds, so this time we're going to split it into thirds. Now we're still looking for this one right here, and we know that's 18 divided by 3. And 18 divided by 3 is 6. So we know 1/3 would be 6. And the rest of them. But the question is asking us for 2/3. And 2/3 would end up being 12, because 6 plus 6. On D, so again we have our tape diagram. Our total amount is 18. We're going to 6 this time, so I'm going to split it in half, then I'm going to split them halves into thirds. And even though it's asking for 2 of the 6th, I'm going to solve for a unit one first. Okay? So I know that 18 divided by 6 will tell me how much this 1 is worth. And I know 3 times 6 is 18. So this one's 3, so all the rest of them would have to be 3. Well, since this is equal to 2/6, I know 2/6, 3 plus 3 would be 6. So 2/6 of 18 equals 6. On our next one, we know our total is 49. And we're dividing them up into 7. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. We're looking for the unit one, so we know that's 49 divided by 7 units, and that would be 7. So each one is going to be 7. So it wants to know what 3/7 would be. So 3/7 would equal 7 times 3 would be 21. So 3/7 of 49 equals 21. On F, here we have a total of 120. And we're splitting into 10, so I'm going to go that and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I'm looking for the unit one to start off with. And I know that this is 120 divided by 10. And I know since I'm dividing by 10, it's going to shift one place value. So that would be 12. So each one of these is going to be 12. Now the question is asking for 3/10 of 120. And that would be 12 times 3, which would give us 36. So 3/10 of 120 would be 36. G. Now G is when you first start getting to some fractions. Because this is 31 and we're splitting them into thirds. And here, this is actually 31 divided by 3. Well, the thing is, when we take 31 and we divide that by 3, we know that's going to be 10 with a remainder of 1. Well, we don't use the remainder like that anymore. We're going to rewrite the remainder using the remainder, which is 1, over the divisor, which is 3. So each one of these equals 10 and 1/3. Now it wants to know how much 1/3 was, so 1/3 of 31 would be 10 and 1/3. H, starting off with 20, and we're splitting them up into fifths. And we're going to start finding the unit one first, which we know 20 divided by 5 is going to give us 4. So each one's going to be 4. And it wants to know what 2/5 would be. So 2/5 of 20 would equal 8. Under I, we have 25, and we're doing it in the quarters. And we're looking for the unit of 1/4. So that's going to be 25 divided by 4, which we know if we take 25 and divide that by 4, we're going to get 6, which is 24, with 1 left over. So it'll be 6 and 1/4. So each one of these is going to be 6 1/4. So 1/4 of 25 equals 6 1/4. Under J, we know our total is 25. And we're doing fourths, so we're going to split it into fourths. And we're going to start off by finding the unit, which we know this is 25 divided by 4. And we can see over here, 25 divided by 4, we've already done it right here. So we know that's 6 1/4. And we know 3/4 would be 6 1/4 plus 6 1/4 plus 6 1/4, which is 6, 12, 18 plus 1/4, 2/4, 3/4, which equals 18 3/4. So 18 3/4 would be our answer. Now K. K is where we have been up to this point. We have a fractional part of we're looking for a fractional part of a whole number. In this one, we're given the fractional part of the whole number, and we're asking to find out what the original number was. So if we use our tape diagram, it will help us identify it. We know the total here is what we're looking for. And it tells us 3/4, so we're going to split this into fourths. And we know that 3/4 of it is equal to 27. So we got 27 divided by 3 equals, okay? And we know 9 times 3 is 27, so each one would be 9. So now that we have them all filled out, we know that 9 times 4 would be 36. So the original number would have been 36. Let's come to the next one. And once again, we're looking for the total. It says 2/5, so we're going to go ahead and make our fifths. We're looking for this one. Excuse me, it's given us 2/5, I'm sorry. And 2/5 is 14. Well, we know 14 divided by 2 equals 7. So each one of these is going to be 7. So I'm going to have 7 times 5. 7 times 5 equals 35. So original number was 35. A skating rink sold 66 tickets. Of these, 2/3 of the were children's tickets. The rest were adults. What total number of adult tickets were sold? Okay, so let's start off with our tape diagram. And it says a total of 66 tickets were sold. And it says thirds, so I'm going to put these up like this. And it says we're going to solve for this part first. And we know 60, this would be 66 divided by 3, which we know that's going to be 22. Oop, 22, not 23. Now, it says 2/3 of these were children's tickets. And it says the remaining were adults. What was the total number of adults? So total adult, actually AD, adult tickets sold was 22. A straight angle is split into two smaller angles as shown. The smaller angle's measure is 1/6 of the straight angle. What is the value of A? Now, what this basically means is that you have to start off from 4th grade and you knew that a straight angle was equal to 180 degrees. Okay? So, we know it says the smaller angle's measure is 1/6 of the straight angle. So the total here is our straight angle, which is 180, and it says 1/6, so we're going to split these into 6. So 1/6 here would be 180 divided by 6. And I can do this really easy. 18 divided by 6 is going to be 3, so 180 divided by 6 would be 30. So each one of these is going to be 30. So now, I know the smaller angle, which is 1/6, this is a smaller, and that means this has to be the larger angle. So this one here is 30. And I can see 180 minus 30 would give me 150. And let's check it. Because I got 30, 60, 90, 120, 150. It checks. So what is the angle of A? That is equal to 150 degrees. Annabelle and Eric made 17 ounces of pizza dough. They used 5/8 of the dough to make a pizza and used the rest to make calzones. What is the difference between the amount of dough they used to make pizza and the amount of dough they used to make calzones? Okay, so let's start off and let's find out how much was made for each first. We know the total amount was 17 ounces of pizza dough. And it says eighths, so let's go ahead and split it into eighths. And in order to find 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 5, 6, 7, oh, got to go another one in there, 8. So we know this is 17 divided by 8. Well, 17 divided by 8, that would go 2 times. 2 times 8 is 16 with a 1 remainder. So it would be 1/8. So it would be 2 and 1/8 in each. Now, it says 5/8, which would be 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. 5/8 was make pizza. And the rest, which is all this, was calzones. So, I can see that if I take the pizza, if I count it up, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, and 1/8, 2/8, 3/8, 4/8, 5/8. 10 and 5/8 ounces were for pizza. For the calzones, if I count it up, I got 2, 4, 6, and 1, 2, 3/8. Now I've got all that information. Now, what's the question asks? It wants to know the difference between the amount of dough they used to make pizza and the amount they used to make calzones. Well, I know that pizza was 10 and 5/8, and that calzones was 6 and 3/8. So at 5/8 minus 3/8 gives me 2/8. 10 minus 6 gives me 4. So the answer would be 4 and 2/8 ounces. Now, if you wanted to simplify that 2/8, we see they both have common factors of 2. So I divide both of them by 2, and I ended up with 1/4. So 4 and 1/4 ounces would actually be the simplified if they asked you for that. Okay. New York Rangers hockey team won 3/4 of their games last season. If they lost 21 games, how many games did they play the entire season? All right, so let's start with a tape diagram. And it says that the New York Rangers won 3/4 of their games last season. So we're going to go ahead and split this into quarters. And we know that they won 3/4 of their games. We don't know what the total here is. And we know that this here is what they lost. So they lost 1/4, which would be 21 games. So as you can see here, that since 1/4 is 21, that means each one of the other quarters will be 21. So we can see now this is 21 times 4. So 21 times 4 gives us 84. So they had a total of 84